Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Bootleg presented by Farm Bureau Health Plans. I'm your host, Tom Krager, with the Tennesseans. They've got a lot of big games. We're going to spend our show talking about the big games. Here it is, Week 10. One more week until we get to the postseason. Week 10, guys, joined by our Middle Tennessee high school sports writer, Cecil Joyce from the Daily News Journal, Joe Spears from the Daily News Journal / Daily Columbia Daily Herald, and George Robinson of the Leaf Chronicle up in Clarksville. And George, trust me, I've got some big games for you this week. Big week for Clarksville sports.
Yep.
So, guys, obviously one more week. I guess it's now a lot of the top 10 games are really going to be for region titles. I know there's one more week after this, but for the most part, a lot of games are going to be wrapping up region titles this week. So we're going to start right in on it. Game of the week. This is a game that was scheduled a couple weeks ago, folks. CPA 6-0, 2-0 in the D2 AA Middle Region. They go to Lipscomb Academy. They're 6-2, 2-0. Of course, CPA was supposed to play a few weeks ago. Then COVID hit. They had to cancel a game with Brentwood. And then they had this game rescheduled. Coach Dilfer was very adamant. He wanted to get this game rescheduled. Both coaches agreed they wanted to play this game on the field and not have it decided by COVID. Start up with Joe Spears. What do you think about this game?
I would really like to be at this game this week. It should be a lot of fun. Lipscomb Academy's played well since starting the season off 0-2. Granted, it was an 0-2 against Brentwood Academy and PJP2. It was tough to pick this one. Lipscomb Academy in those wins, they've been dominant. 278-34 against teams, 4 shutouts. But nobody's really been able to touch CPA this year. They're averaging 32 points per game, only giving up 10. So I think I'm going to go with CPA on this. I think it'll be close. I may not have the score high enough, but I think it'll be 28-24 CPA.
I'm not too far off from Joe there. I do think CPA probably, they've handled everything that's been thrown at them this year. And, I like what they've done. In terms of balancing their offense. Lipscomb Academy is a really good team. Obviously, they handled Rossview up here in Clarksville pretty easily a couple weeks ago. So, but I do have CPA winning the game 28-20.
Well, CPA's defense has been dominant all year. The most points they've allowed in any game is 23, and that was to a pretty high-powered Ravenwood offense. So I don't think it's going to be as high-scoring as some of the other guys have said. I like CPA in this game. I think Lipscomb will put up a good fight, but I'm going CPA 21-7.
Folks, here's my analysis of this game. Lipscomb is not the same Lipscomb they were a year ago in Coach Dilfer's first year. They have made improvements. Their quarterback, Luther Richardson, is much better than a year ago. He's improved in the system. Couple of new faces. Coleman Baker sat out most of the year, if not all the year. He transferred from Brentwood. He's a good, talented receiver. He has some speed and is making a difference in the receiving core. And then the big addition for them this year, offensively, has been Alex Broom. That's Coach Broom's son over at Maplewood. He's done great running the football. He's got like 18, 19, 20 touchdowns or something like that. Ton of touchdowns on the ground this year already. Didn't play the first couple of weeks because he wasn't eligible yet. They're going to make a difference. My question is going to remain: Can they win the war in the trenches? Coach Ingo Martin wants to make this a trench warfare type game. He wants this to be a game in the trenches, running the football. You've got Cade Law, a very talented quarterback, but who can run and can throw. Langston Patterson, really good linebacker. Will be one of our top prospects next year. And then, he'll run the ball as well as play linebacker. And then you throw in Tyler Reed, a very talented running back for them. Will give for them, he'll be their starter. Then Langston will kind of give them a change of pace and stuff. I think right now CPA is still the better team, but I think it's a lot closer. I think it's 24-21 CPA over Lipscomb in what will be a great game of the week. And Joe, I'm like you. I wish I was there. And in fact, I am going to make sure I am there for this game. Independence at Brentwood is the next game. 5-1. Independence 3-0 in the region 6-6A. At Brentwood 6-2, 3-0. Seems like Brentwood's played all their big games lately at home outside of the Ravenwood game. Brentwood wins this game. They've locked up the region. They'll have the tiebreakers on Independence and Ravenwood. Independence would have to beat, I believe, Ravenwood next week to wrap up the region. If they didn't, you'd have a three-way tie. If Ravenwood beats Indy next week, there could be a three-way tie. Joe Spears, I'm going to start with you. You're familiar with Independence. I'll start with you.
Yeah, I mean, Independence has been, thanks to Jackson Campbell and that offense, they've been really good this year. They had that week 1 loss to Summit where they lost on that last-minute touchdown. Destin Wade scored it. But, I mean, outside of that, they haven't really been touched this year. They had a 56-0 win last week after having 2 weeks off. Didn't look rusty at all. Over their 5-game win streak, they've outscored teams 175-51, and they're only giving up 10 points per game during that streak. So this is these games have been really close over the last couple of years. I went back and kind of looked at them. I know Brentwood won last year, but a lot of really close games. I think Brentwood just may have a little too much offense in this. I don't think Independence has played an offense as good as Brentwood's, but I think it'll be really close. I think Jackson Campbell's in for a huge game. I'm not sure he can do enough, though, and I think Brentwood wins 28-27.
I like even more of a shootout in this game, but I'm with Joe. I like Brentwood pulling it out. Probably may even come down to the last drive. I'm going 35-31 Bruins.
I'm probably a little bit more on the defensive side of the football in terms of, what I think, this game will end up, being about. I had to give Indy's defense some love. Like Joe said, they've been playing really well pretty much all season. I do think that their win streak, though, is going to get snapped. I have Brentwood winning 24-17.
I agree with the panel. I think, you've got 3 very talented FBS-type kids in Kate Granzo, who is an Auburn baseball commitment but could very easily play Division I football if he decides. I know Vanderbilt's offered. They have a Vanderbilt commitment in John House IV, a DB, who's also done a lot on offense for him this year and needing some depth. And then you've got Walker Merrill. Walker Merrill has had a couple big games for them in a row. Seems to be getting healthy from a tweaked hamstring that's cost him a couple games. This is a big game. They need him in this game to be able to beat an Independence, I think. Then they've developed a run game with Luke Walters, and Aaron Walton has done a great job receiving as well. I think it is a closer game. I think Brentwood 35-27, and it would be the 3rd straight Region 6A title for the Bruins and Coach Ron Crawford. Beach at Gallatin, folks. This right here was like the game of the year. One of the biggest crowds I've seen. I think this game last year single-handedly funded the turf project that Beach had last year. I mean, it was a great crowd, and I'm being a little sarcastic there. I mean, obviously they had already had a lot of money there, but Beach 5-1, 2-0 in 6-5A. They travel to Gallatin. Gallatin's not been as dynamic as they've been the year prior in Coach Watson's first year, Chad Watson's first year. They're 3-5 this year, 3-0. All 3 of those region wins are COVID wins, so they have yet to win a game on the field for a region win. They have beaten Lebanon and Green Hill, I believe, but they've been a little bit on a downward spiral here as of lately. So they definitely need to kind of right the ship there. I think that's going to be very tough with Beach's defense. Coach Crabtree does a great job with his defense. Carter Flatt does a great job. I think he's their sack leader, and then Tyshawn Jefferson's their big running back there for them. I like Beach to win this game by a couple scores. I'm picking Beach 42-28.
Traditionally, since Beach opened in the early 80s, this has been a great game, and there's been 90% of them have been good games and good close matchups. I think this might be the biggest blowout of the bunch. Gallatin is reeling. Beach may be the best team in 5A. I'm going Beach 38-14.
Going big there, guys. Joe Spears.
I'm not too far off from Cecil's prediction. I mean, Gallatin's lost five straight games they've played in. They're just struggling. Beach, on the other hand, has 5 straight wins after that heartbreaking loss to Powell week 1. I've got Beach winning 34-16.
I agree with the panel there. I was a little bit surprised. I saw Gallatin at the beginning of the year when they beat Lebanon. I thought that team is going to be rolling this year. So I'm a little surprised at how much they've struggled, in the past 5 games or so. But like Cecil said, that doesn't bode well against a very, very good Beach team that is a defensive-minded team, to say the least. I say give me Beach 30-14.
So far, panel, we've all guessed right, and since I've been 6-4 the last few weeks, That may not be a good sign for our picks. Rossview 5-2, 2-1 in Region 4 6A. They're at Hendersonville 5-3, 3-0. Hendersonville needs to win to keep in the race for the region title. Of course, next week they would be going. I think they go to Mount Juliet. I'm gonna say right now, I like Hendersonville. I like what Coach Beasley has done with his team. Ellis is a heck of a DB, and again, I've said it's the best name in high school football. Ellis. And then the Rowe kid, I mean, it's Brent Rowe, I believe it is, the running back there for him. He's a tough, hard-nosed runner, doing big things for them. I like Hendersonville to win this game 24-14. George, what do you think?
We kind of discussed this yesterday a little bit. I mean, I think Rossview faces a defense that's probably every bit as good as they are. But Rossview's defense also has, been the reason why they've been so good this year, and it's kept them in just about every single game they've played in, with the exception of Lipscomb a couple of weeks ago. And that was evident in Rossview's, 22-14 win over Mount Juliet some time ago. So I think Rossview's defense keeps them in it. I do think that Hendersonville probably presents, some challenges, particularly on the edge against that Rossview defense. The Hawks defense really is strong, up the middle, stopping the run, between the tackles. I think if you can get on the edge against them with some speed, I think you have an opportunity to do some damage. So I like Hendersonville to pull this one out in a kind of a defensive battle, 17-14.
I mean, Rossview's played well. I mean, they've won 4 straight games after that blowout loss to Lipscomb Academy. Sorry. Hendersonville's playing well as well. They're averaging 35 points per game. I think they hit 35, and I think they beat Rossview 35-27.
The big question is, did Ellis go to Ellis Middle School in Hendersonville? If that's the case, and it's probably likely, then that would be the even greater name. I like Hendersonville as well. What they did last week against Gallatin, even though Gallatin's been struggling, that was an impressive win. I think Hendersonville wins the region, and I like the 27-21 over Rossview.
Henry County 6-2, 4-0 in Region 7 5A. They travel to Clarksville Northeast, who's 5-1, 5-0. Interesting enough, got 5 region wins and 5 overall wins. George, can Northeast pull a shocker and be what I think is one of the better 5A programs right now in the state with what Coach Counts is doing?
There's 2 things right now, regarding Northeast. I think number one is what offense is going to show up. That's going to be the biggest question. I think defensively, they're going to have trouble stopping Henry County's, kind of vaunted run game. Henry County throws, 4 or 5 guys at you at a time in their run game, and that's going to be difficult for Northeast to stop. The issue is going to be, can Northeast keep up with them? I think if Northeast can score with Henry County, I think once it gets into the 4th quarter, because of Northeast's style, at least their running style with, 235, 240 pound back Juwan Harris, who's just been kind of, running everybody over this year. I think Northeast has a shot in the 4th quarter if they can keep it close. Like I said, this game is gonna swing on whether or not Northeast can really hold its own offensively against Henry County. I still think, because Henry County is just, beating everybody here in Clarksville to a pulp almost every single year, I still have Henry County winning this game, but I think it's going to be fairly close. I have the Patriots winning 28-20.
I do not think it'll be close like George does, but he knows better than me. Henry County's, nobody's really, I mean, they have a couple losses. They're Beach and Brentwood. Those are not 2 losses, not to scoff at. But in their wins, they're averaging 49 points. So Northeast, like George mentioned, their offense can be suspect at times and can go invisible. I think Henry County wins this 38-20.
I want to keep it short. I like Henry County. I like Henry County to make a deep playoff run. I think they win this game 26-13.
So Laverne 5-3, 4-0 in Region 5 6A. They travel to Smyrna 5-3, 4-0, both 5-3, 4-0. See, so I don't think there's ever been a Laverne-Smyrna matchup outside of the big rivalry. I don't think there's ever been this much on the line in this rivalry game. Whoever wins this game is in the driver's seat for the region title.
That's correct. Laverne could actually clinch the region title with a win. Smyrna would still have to go through Stewart's Creek, even if they beat Laverne this week. So it's a great matchup. The two have rarely played this late in the season and have this much on the line. It's kind of a contrast because, 3 weeks ago, if you'd have asked me about this game, I'd have said it was the offense of Laverne versus the defense of Smyrna. Of course, Smyrna, allowed 500 yards to Cane Ridge even in a win a couple of weeks ago, and this past week gave up 51 points to Ravenwood. So, if you're Laverne right now, you're thinking, how many points can we score in this game? And it's going to take a lot to win it. I still like Smyrna's chances in this game. I think it will be a little high scoring, but Smyrna wins 32-27. The big key for them to pull that off is they're going to have to contain Ray Banner. Laverne's talented running back has over 1,400 yards rushing this year. Smyrna's actually been pretty good at stopping the run. I think if Banner explodes for 150 or more yards, Laverne could win this game, but I think Smyrna's going to keep him contained just a tad, 32-27.
I have Smyrna winning 48-45. I think it'll be a shootout because it seems like every time Cecil covers Laverne this year, the games are shootouts and high scoring. Ray Banner, I think he'll be in for a big game, but the Laverne defense has been really suspect this year. Smyrna's only 3 losses are to really good teams. I mean, this team's playing really well. Outside loss to Ravenwood last week. But yeah, I think 48-45 Smyrna in a shootout.
I like Smyrna in this game as well. I think they're going to be too much for Laverne. Smyrna's already played Cane Ridge and Ravenwood in back-to-back games and beat Cane Ridge by a field goal. So I like Smyrna to win 38-14.
I am picking Smyrna. They're going to contain Ray Banner. Smyrna 20-14. I'm going to go slow scoring. They're going to leave their scoring at home. Riverdale 6-2, 4-1. They travel to Warren County. Yes, Warren County is one of our games of the week. They are 8-0, 5-0. The CJ Taylor train keeps rolling along. Cecil, can my guy CJ, can he make it 9-0?
He can make it 9-0. I'm not saying he will make it 9-0, but CJ Taylor has, if you include returns, he has over 2,000 yards of offense this year. He's a quarterback, but obviously not a traditional quarterback in the sense. He's thrown for about 500 yards. He is dynamic, folks. He is arguably the best player in Region 3-6A right now. And he has carried this team pretty much on his back. The thing about Warren County, however, 8-0 coming in. They've been the Cinderella story of the Mid-State this year. I'm even loving what they're doing. But if you look at their schedule, they have 2 teams on their schedule they've beaten that have winning records. One of them is 4A DeKalb County, and one of them is Cookeville. And Cookeville's been reeling lately as well. Warren County hasn't played a defense as stiff as Riverdale's this year. I think they're going to be in for a little bit of a rude awakening this week. I don't think it'll be a bad game. I do like Riverdale winning this game, and my score is 28-21. I think it'll be a pretty good game.
Yeah, CJ Taylor's fantastic. I mean, he can do a little bit of everything, but like Cecil said, they haven't played a defense as good as Riverdale, and I think Riverdale's got a sour taste in their mouth after last week. They played Oakland well. Oakland's just too good. But I do think Taylor has a great game, and he does just enough to keep Warren County in this. But in the end, Riverdale 24-20.
I like Riverdale in this game. I kind of felt like coming in that this was a little bit of maybe a little bit of a trap for me, trying to figure out who's gonna come out on the winning side. But Warren County's played really good this year. I think they beat Blackman, and like Cecil said, they played a very good Cookeville team. I think they held them scoreless, even though Cookeville's kind of struggled here lately. Riverdale's schedule has just been, has been brutally hard. And they're still 6-2, somewhere around there. So I'm going to give the edge to Riverdale, but I do think it's going to be a really close game. I have Riverdale winning 28-27.
Pioneers. I believe in the CJ Taylor train. I believe the Pioneers they're the Cinderella season. They're Cinderella team of the year. Everyone, I mean, they haven't had a season this good in the last 40 years. The Jeff Womack era there. In 1980, they were 9-1, went to the semifinals. I'm not saying they're going to the semifinals this year, but I'm going to believe that they're going to go 9-0, 26-20. CJ Taylor, get it going.
Tom, I will add that Warren County does not have to win this game to still win the region. It will come down to Oakland and Warren County in week 11.
Yes, and really, they are third, no worse than third if they lose the next 2 games, from what I've seen. Nolensville 4-2, 3-0, and 4-4A. They go to Tullahoma 8-0, 3-0. I like Jacoby Thomas. I like what Ryan Scott's done at Tullahoma 8-0. I think they better be able to defend the run, and Samson Johnson for Nolensville. I got Tullahoma 35-28. Cecil.
I'll keep it quick. I like Tullahoma 20-14.
Joe.
Tullahoma has too much offense, 45-13.
And George.
Nolensville's played admirably this season, but Tullahoma's a force. I like the Wildcats 42-10.
Brentwood Academy 8-0, 3-0. They're at Ensworth 2-4 and 0-2. Ensworth finally won two straight games, looking for their first Division II East region game. I like this BA team. Now here's the question: they've had a week off of games. They had their open week. 1, they can get more healthy. 2, do they get a little bit of rust after not playing for a week when they've been on such a big roll? Totally different team than we've seen in the past. This is a very aerial team. Taylor Montiel airing it out on offense. I like BA 35-27. They're on this roll, but they played a lot of teams close, so I think that trend continues. Cecil.
I like Brentwood Academy 42-21. These 2 teams have had some great battles in the past, but I think this is BA's year.
Joe?
Yeah, I think this is the kind of game where Ensworth keeps it close for a majority of the evening, but Brentwood Academy, they pull away at the end. I got them winning 31-20.
And George?
I feel exactly like Joe does. I think, this game will stay close for the most part. And Tom, I think we were only 1 point away. I have Brentwood Academy winning 34-27.
Cane Ridge 2-2 at Father Ryan 5-2. Yes, folks, Father Ryan is on a tear. They beat up on McCauley last week. There's still an outside chance they could finish first in that region. I believe McCauley had some people out for contact tracing, but a win's a win. And Father Ryan has played really, really, really well in the last few weeks. DC Tapscott, they won 4 straight. I don't think DC Tapscott's had an interception in the last 4 games. I like Father Ryan 21-20. Cecil.
This is such a tough game to pick. Cane Ridge has shot themselves in the foot the last 2 weeks, but they're so potent and so dangerous. I'm just going to have to guess that Father Ryan's going to contain them, and that Cane Ridge still hasn't worked out whatever tweaks. I'm going to go Father Ryan 28, Cane Ridge 24.
Okay. Joe Spears.
Father Ryan's rolling right now. I think we all picked against them last week. They took that as some motivation. And I think they win a high-scoring contest, 36-30.
And finally, George.
I'm going to keep the Father Ryan train going. I mean, I think they're going to beat Cane Ridge. As talented as Cane Ridge is, I think they win 38-21.
Yeah, Cane Ridge saw them last week. A lot of mistakes. As Coach Eddie Woods told me, playing with a lot of sophomores here, and they're making a lot of sophomore mistakes, things they've got to get corrected. Very talented offense, but, you can't just keep shooting yourselves in the foot every time you make a big play. We are here at week 10. One more week when we'll be in the playoffs. Playoffs? Yes, I said playoffs. Thanks for everyone joining us on the Bootleg. And especially thanks to our presenting sponsor, Farm Bureau Health Plans. Guys, we'll see you next week. Last week of the regular season. Should be a dandy.